Hello everyone, or shall I say g'day, because we are here in the land down under. In fact, I'm from the land down under. Why don't I say g'day at the start of every video? Anyway, we're here for the Australian Grand Prix today. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. As always, we're starting with the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge before we get into the race weekend itself. So, 5 red lights and away we go. We have the Drift Challenge this time, and it is raining, so that's not a great sign. Hopefully this rain doesn't stick around for the weekend itself. It wouldn't be out of character for Melbourne though. It does tend to rain, four seasons in a day. But anyway, we'll see how it goes as we do just about complete the objective in the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge. At the last possible moment, we just about get over 8,000 points in the Drift Challenge, and we get the gold, get the $100,000 and the 1,000 acclaim as well. So that's a good start. 8,190 points. So yeah, we just got there at the last moment. So that was quite lucky, but the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge is done, which means we can move in to the weekend itself. In fact, before we do that, I did purchase this driver perk for the social media team, so that will help our driver acclaim boosted by 50%. I assume that means the acclaim rate, more so than the actual acclaim itself. A check on Fernando Alonso's focus stat. He's on 27 now, so he has improved significantly since joining our team, which is great to see. And I did make a very slight update to the livery. I just changed the finish on some of the colours. So now the red is metallic, which I believe it already was. The black is matte, and the white is gloss. So they're all different just for fun, I guess. But anyway, we get into the race weekend itself, and we have a look at some R&D. We're going to go for a rear downforce upgrade, as well as a major weight reduction upgrade. So those will be on the car in a couple of rounds' time. So that is all good news in the R&D department. More significant upgrades coming onto the car very soon. We look forward to qualifying then for the Australian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, I didn't show the R&D chart, but the car is looking pretty good heading into this round. I think we're 6th best on the R&D chart, significantly higher than where we were at the start of the season. So we should be looking pretty good for hopefully a decent points finish, because I think what the R&D chart shows is actually lower than where we realistically are. I think in the first round of the season, both myself and Alonso showed that. Our first lap in Q1 wasn't great, and you can see we're not in the top 14, but we thankfully do manage to scrape through down in 15th place. Very fortunate there, but we just about make it. Yeah, just Kevin Magnussen separating us from the dropper zone. Yuki Tsunoda gets knocked out along with Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Zhou Guan Yu, Nicholas Latifi, and Jehan Daruvala. Yeah, the Indian driver really struggling to get up to speed in Formula 1, though the Aston Martin not having a lot of pace itself certainly isn't helping him. So yeah, it's just not a great combination. But anyway, we move on into Q2 then, and we'll see if this session can go any better for us. We do need to improve, of course, because that lap would not have been good enough to get us into Q3, so we do need to find a bit more time. We go P6, but with faster drivers such as Max Verstappen still yet to set times, we drop down as they do so. So in the end, we drop down into P9, and that's too close to call, so we need to go out again and put in a better lap time. So we do so, and we do improve only by a couple of tenths, but it is just about enough to get us into Q3 in 10th position. We really cut that one fine, but we just about got there, and Esteban Ocon was the unfortunate one to get knocked out in the end. So Fernando Alonso as well, down in P12, also knocked out, but yeah, the pace difference between us only a few tenths, so yeah, pretty close in times between the pair of us. So I don't know if we'll be able to move much further up the field in qualifying. But I'm just looking at the times, and the time we set on our previous lap was not good enough to get into Q3. So that second lap was necessary, only just. But yeah, Ocon did beat our first flying lap, so we did need to do that. So thankfully we did. We now move on into Q3 then. We only have one set of tyres left, so let's make the most of it. We get through the first corner nicely now into turn 3. We just got to keep it steady through this first sector. Bit of a corner cut there, but we're not going to worry about that as we work our way through. It's a very slight lift for confidence there, but now through the flat out chicane. Bit wide on exit, had to hesitate a little bit more than I would have liked to on the accelerator, but not too bad in the end. And now we throw it into the final sector. I do like the reprofiled final sector, I will say that, as we work our way through a bit of wheels on the grass action there, but we get away with it, and now throwing it through the final few corners and out onto the main straight as we head towards the finish line. This lap was pretty decent, so this will put us fairly way up the field. I think we go second fastest. How has that happened?
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Perez, the scientist, and Carlos Sainz. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
We have absolutely smashed the previous laps we've just done in qualifying. I don't know what I did differently on that lap, but my goodness, I don't know where that time came from. That is insane. That improvement came from nowhere. We barely got through Q1, barely got through Q2, and then got second in Q3. Well, I'm not going to complain about it, but I don't know where that lap time came from, but I'll take it. And yeah, we will have a front row start for our home race. Danny Rick in the top 10 as well, so we might have 2 Aussies in the points by the end. We'll see, but we're ahead of our main championship rivals as well. If we can even say that. I'm not sure if we're going to be in the championship fight come the end of the season, but if our fortunes continue, we certainly will be. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc starting behind us on the grid. So, without further ado, let's get into the race.
Hello and welcome from Melbourne, a track modified since we last raced here in Albert Park, and I think with the changes, it's going to be a classic. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole today, and the scientist completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, and Hamilton, Norris, Stroll, Russell, and Daniel Ricciardo, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, and Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, Tictum, Yuki Tsunoda, and Alex Albon, Gasly, Joe, Latifi, and Jehan Daruvala. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks.
Alrighty then. Strategy is going to be a 2-stop, softs to 2 sets of mediums. Unfortunately, what I didn't notice on this screen is that the medium tyre stints were offset. The first one's shorter than the second one. If I saw that, I would have changed it so they're even, but that is something we will come across later on. It's 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. It's a good start for us, and alright one for Sergio Perez, but we're down the inside into turn 1, and we're going to take the lead as Perez is off the road into the gravel traps. Sergio Perez has thrown it away at turn 1, and he's plummeted down into P22. What a shame for Sergio Perez. After taking pole position, he loses it all within the first few hundred meters. What a disaster for the Red Bull driver, and his title defense is going from bad to worse. That is not what the Mexican needed. But anyway, we continue to push on, and we'll see what happens as the race unfolds for us. But we've got the race lead for now, so this is a special moment for sure. But whether we can hold on to it for long, I do not know. We've got an angry pack of cars behind us. Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton. This is not going to be an easy race. So we're going to need a lot of defensive driving, I think. Meanwhile, further back in the pack, there was a little more chaos further afield. So we'll have a look at what happened to our fellow Australians, Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo. And Piastri was in amongst everything through the first few corners, got away with it all, and slammed into the back of Daniel Ricciardo into turn 3, unfortunately. Just too late on the brakes, and had nowhere to go. So that's a shame. And then George Russell found himself in a similar situation with Lance Stroll. So unfortunate little situation for both of them, and they both have front wing damage. But come the end of the first lap, we still maintain the race lead. Charles Leclerc holds second position, but Max Verstappen's looking hungry as he goes down the inside of Charles Leclerc. And Leclerc's off the road, making a mistake. The Ferrari driver made contact with his teammate on the way back onto the road. And now he's under pressure from Lewis Hamilton and the Alpines, the McLaren behind as well. Lando Norris making the move, trying to go around the outside. But in the end, he's the one now susceptible to one of the Alpine cars there, Esteban Ocon. But Charles Leclerc losing the position to Lewis Hamilton. What a disaster for Leclerc. He was briefly in second, but he's now lost out. George Russell comes in to the pit lane for that new nose, as does Oscar Piastri. So it's going to be a tough race for both of them from here. So who knows? With the way this race has played out so far, points may still be on the cards.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
All that action, it's what wasn't even in the first lap and a half. So it's going to be one of those days, I think. It's going to be a race of minimizing mistakes and trying to hold track position, I think, as much as we can. We fend off Max Verstappen once, which means we can do it again. Whether we can do it another 50-something times is another matter. But for the time being, we have him covered off. So yeah, it's really tricky to try and hold off Max Verstappen. That Red Bull is so quick in a straight line. We have good straight line speed versus most of the other cars, but that Red Bull has a little bit extra compared to most of the other cars in the field, I think. And it really does show. But we're doing our best, and for the moment, we are holding on. As we continue to push on, though, we continue.
Behind you now. Less than a second separates you. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 3 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 27.0. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 4.7 seconds.
So we continue on. What that confirms is that Verstappen is on our strategy, which is good news. So we won't need to worry about different strategies coming together at different parts of the race as we go very deep there, and Verstappen's now got the inside line as we head into the third to last corner. He's gone super deep though, we're barely left with enough room around the outside, but we'll make it work and hold the position. Here's the replay. Verstappen was so aggressive there trying to keep that position that we just about managed to hold on, and yeah, this defensive dance is just going to continue on and on. You can see there we're giving him the tight inside line, and it's making it very difficult for him to make the move. Here's the onboard of that little battle, and yeah, just not able to get the power down on the tight inside line. He's just got so much turning to do late in the corner, and oh my goodness, he is losing the rear end all the way through that right-hander. So yeah, what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve is to get to the apex of the corner early, and then just park it on the apex, point it out of the corner, and take a really narrow line on the exit to stop them getting the switchback. So it's a tricky balancing act. It makes us overall very, very slow, but because we're in the race lead, we don't need to worry about lap times because we're holding on to our track position nonetheless. So
okay, we want you to pit this lap, so push now.
It's a tricky little defensive maneuver, but it's working for us as the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz comes in to the pit lane for the first time. He is the first of the lead pack runners to come into the pit lane, and that is a cue for us to follow suit on the next lap. We don't want him getting the undercut, so we're going to pit, but unfortunately for us, Max Verstappen goes on, so the overcut may work for him. We'll see as we come in to the pit lane for a new set of tyres. We go onto the mediums now, and we exit the pit lane. The undercut will potentially help us stay ahead of Max Verstappen, but I honestly don't have high hopes. He has so much speed that I think he can make the overcut work on us, but we'll give it a go anyway. We really struggled through the first two corners there out of pit lane on the cold mediums, and potentially a little bit of dirty air from Jehan Deruvala and Pierre Gasly, who are in front of us now, and unfortunately for us, they are going to prove very annoying because we were not able to get past them until we make the lunge double move down the inside. But as you can see, Verstappen's already out of pit lane in front of us by the time we're able to make that move. So that's a game over. Race win is now out of the question. I mean, it was always going to be a very tough ask, and through strategy, Verstappen's been able to get past. So
the car ahead's coming to fit the mediums. Car ahead now running medium tyres.
We still effectively, I think, run in second position. Being this close behind Verstappen, I think we'll maintain that position. As Lando Norris comes out of pit lane, we have to make sure we give him due respect on the apex there of turn 1. Thankfully,
that's
he
P7 now. P7
minds his own business.
Gap to the car in front is 2.7 seconds.
On the way through there, and as we continue through, we eventually regain second place. So yeah, meanwhile that chaos was going on behind. There were cars scrambling for position back there, and a very familiar battle starts playing out. We begin to use all these same defensive tactics we were using against Verstappen on Lando Norris, as Alex Albon retires from the race with a mechanical failure in the Aston Martin, and he will not make it to the end of this one, fortunately.
Okay, be aware the car behind is catching you by 0.5 a lap, 0.5.
So anyway, we continue to push on, and we're now defending from Esteban Ocon, and the Alpine now looking racy. He's been able to get past Lando Norris, but we're holding him off for the time being. Took a diagonal line to the apex there, which made it very awkward for Esteban Ocon, to the point where he actually made a bit of contact with us, and that brought out the yellow flag. Was there damage? I believe there was for Esteban Ocon, and that allowed Lando Norris through as well. So it's unfortunate for Esteban Ocon, and now Norris has just made contact with us as well. Goodness me, this race is again causing more mistakes. Ocon with a half-hearted move down the inside, Norris making contact with us. Just too much lateral momentum on the exit there, couldn't get it turned back to the right enough, and just slammed into the side of us on the exit of the corner. Goodness me, what is happening in this race. And now they both pit for new front wings. I don't know what's going on in this race. Everyone's lost their minds.
All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. You've got 4 laps until your pit window opens.
Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz are the 3 cars behind us now. So we'll see what happens from this point forward. Max Verstappen is just steaming off into the distance. And
we're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
With Sergio Perez down and out of contention.
Push now, we're boxing this lap. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 7.4 seconds.
No one is really going to be catching catching Max Verstappen, I don't think, as we are now defending from Daniel Ricciardo. We're not going to be doing that diagonal to the apex again, though. I think that caused the incident before, so going to learn from that one and drive a little bit more sensibly. But yeah. Max Verstappen's got this one under control. It's our lap to box, but we are, whoops, a bit of a loss at the rear end there. Rear tyres probably seen better days. We're going to push on for another lap though, and try and stretch this stint. As I mentioned, this stint was shorter than the next one by, I think it was like 10 laps or something. It was a lot. So yeah, we're going to stretch it as much as we can and then come in for our stop. And we were only pushed it on for another lap, and then I started worrying about the undercut, so I decided to make that pit stop anyway. So we come in, Hamilton actually pit on the same lap, so lucky we did.
That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
So very thankful we made that decision. And yeah, we should be good. We should be able to get the undercut on Ricciardo and retake second position when he makes his pit stop. So yeah, I think we should have the second, but
we need you to reduce your pace.
No, Sainz, you muppet! He's driven straight into the back of Hamilton, out of pit lane, as Hamilton exited pit lane, damages Sainz front wing, leaves half of it on the track, actually leaves all of it on the track, and brings out the safety car. Hands second position to Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo's going to make a pit stop on the safety car for sure. And that is going to ruin our race. No chance of us getting second now.
Fernando is in for his stop.
Or is there? Is there a chance we could make something good out of this? Alonso in the pits now. No one can get past us. We're still in 4th position. We could get Alonso onto the podium if we just drive a little slowly here, hold everyone up. There's actually only 1 car behind us at the moment. That's Lewis Hamilton. The rest of the field haven't caught up yet. And
car behind's just boxed for mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now.
There you go. Alonso now up into 3rd position. So currently sitting 3rd and 4th. Alonso was at the back of the points before. We've gained massively out of this team-wise.
Safety car in this lap, safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there's no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags.
So, forget everything I just said. Sainz, you're a legend. This is huge for our team's championship. A 3rd and 4th will be a massive result for us. I don't think we'll be passing Alonso. Mostly because I don't know if I have faith in him defending from Lewis Hamilton, despite what he's capable of in real life, with his focus stat the way it is. I don't know if he'll be able to replicate what his maximum performance capabilities are. So yeah, we're gonna stay behind Fernando Alonso and basically just fend off the field behind until maybe the last lap. We'll try to get past.
Behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap. Well done. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
So, yeah, that is the plan. Let's see if it works for us.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
So, yeah, we continue to push on. DRS enabled. And we'll just be able to hook along behind Fernando Alonso now. He'll be able to tow us along. And that's going to make it very difficult for Lewis Hamilton to launch an attack on us. And you can see audibly, or hear audibly, we're lifting off to not get anywhere near Fernando Alonso in the braking zone there, and just leave him alone. He knows what to do. Oh wait, no, that's Kimi Räikkönen. But anyway, yeah, we are not going to interfere with Alonso's race, I don't think, until the later stages. But yeah, as the race went on, the pace seemed to be getting better and better for the pair of us. Ricciardo wasn't really getting away too much, and eventually I decided, let's go for it, and I completely stuffed up the move and went too deep. Alonso got back up the inside, and now we're going to have to try and give this place back without letting Hamilton and Norris through, and we managed to do that. It wasn't actually too difficult, but yeah, that was a little bit more awkward than it needed to be. So yeah, we continue to push on then, as we continue to chase down Fernando Alonso. He's blown up the engine though, and Fernando Alonso is out. Oh no.
Green flag.
All that waiting behind him and fending off the cars behind is for nothing. Alonso's fantastic podium result goes down the drain, along with currently what will be 12 points from what will go from, you know, a third and fourth to just a third. What a shame. And now we're under fire from Lewis Hamilton once again. We give him a bit of a whack on the way past, and we actually send him into the pit lane. I didn't actually realise that until now. Whoops.
Fernando's race is over. He's had to retire the car.
But anyway, Fernando's out. That's heartbreaking, honestly. I've never felt so bad for a fictionalized two-time world champion. Anyway, we continue to push on and continue to lose the rear end. This car has been a little uncooperative through turn 3, I do have to say, but we're dealing with it as best we can.
Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
And yeah, once Lando Norris leaves us alone, I do think we have the pace to catch Daniel Ricciardo. He's opened the gap with all this scrapping away we've done in the last lap, but I think we can catch him. Meanwhile, we'll have a little replay here of how close we were to running into the back of Alonso and ending both of our races there. Upon looking at the replay, it probably wasn't actually that close, but with that closing speed and the smoke,
the car ahead is 7.0 seconds.
and you know, it was hard to know where it was going to go. That was pretty scary. Anyway, Ricciardo's 7 seconds up the road. I think we can catch him. Let's go for it.
Okay, gap ahead is 6.8 seconds. 5.7 seconds. 5.2 seconds. 4.2 seconds. 3.7 seconds. 2.3 seconds. 1.8 seconds. The pace is strong, but be aware these tyres need to go the distance. 1.5 seconds. 1.2 seconds.
And now we move on then to the start of the penultimate lap of the race.
We expect you'll be noticing a bit of grip loss in the tyres around now, so just be careful.
Tyres have seen better days, but they're only one lap older than Ricciardo's, so he's in the same boat. We've got DRS now, so we are within a fighting chance of overtaking Daniel Ricciardo in the last 2 laps. We've been chasing him down for a long time now, but we're close. We just need to find the right opportunity, as we're gaining and gaining here, and he locks up, goes straight ahead, and we make the move to the inside. Opportunistic there, and we get through ahead of Daniel Ricciardo immediately. As soon as we put the pressure on, a slight mistake from Ricciardo, he locks up, and that allowed us to get through. Very uncharacteristic there.
Okay, this is your final lap of the race.
And once again, it shows this truly has been a race of mistakes from drivers up and down the field. It has decided the victory, it has decided podiums, and it has decided points all the way down. But anyway, for us, it is a huge result, provided we don't make any mistakes. But we've broken DRS to Ricciardo, so I don't think that's going to become a huge issue. Meanwhile, around the final corner comes Max Verstappen. He took the lead on strategy and never looked back, and he's going to cross the line to win down under. Great stuff for Max Verstappen. And here is the real story though. Finishing in second and third, two of the Australian drivers in the field at the home event. We're going to come across the line, leading Ricciardo for second and third.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a great finish. Well done.
We had a great fight with Ricciardo and many other drivers throughout that one. And second is a huge result.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So it is race victory for Max Verstappen. We take second at our home race, and Daniel Ricciardo makes it 2 Aussies on the podium.
So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Today's performance means that Max Verstappen now owns top spot in the Drivers' Championship. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team did a good job with strategy to put him in amongst the pack, but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alrighty, let's have a little run through the finishing order then. Obviously Max Verstappen took race victory ahead of myself, Ricciardo. George Russell finished P4, Lance Stroll P5, great result for him. And then it was Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc after that mistake at turn 2, shows how costly that really was. Esteban Ocon in P8, Oscar Piastri P9 after front wing damage on the first lap. I thought his race was over and out, but he came back strong and brought home points for Haas. So that's huge for them, and makes all 3 Australians in the points here in Melbourne. So that's great for the home fans. Pierre Gasly, driver of the day, well deserved, P19 to P10, rounding out the points finishers. We actually got the fastest lap. Actually, no, we didn't. Carlos Sainz ended up with the fastest lap. Never mind. But he finished down in 13th. So, yeah, that's how that one played out. But, anyway, in terms of the drivers' standings, then we sit in 3rd. Max Verstappen leads the way ahead of Charles Leclerc. The gap is 11 points to Leclerc, 17 points back to us. In terms of the teams championships, or the constructor standings, I should say, we are at P5. Ferrari still lead the way, but the point gap to Red Bull is only 4 points, so it could go either way at this point, but that is how things stand at the moment. So yeah, this was, as I mentioned, a race of mistakes. So many drivers up and down the field making mistakes. Max Verstappen, a pretty solid day, not many mistakes from him, but Daniel Ricciardo with a mistake, George Russell, didn't see too much from him, but Lando Norris with a mistake, Charles Leclerc with a mistake, Esteban Ocon with a mistake, Oscar Piastri with a mistake, Pierre Gasly with a great race, making the most of a lot of other people's mistakes. Crazy race, but anyway, yeah, that is gonna do it for the wrap up. So yeah, let's get back to HQ and all of that stuff. So here we go. We beat Lando Norris in the rivalry once again, and we outscore him. We're 7-4 now in the rivalry, so that's good. In terms of our acclaim, that is slowly stacking up. We're still level 18 team acclaim, so we're still waiting to get to 20 for that final sponsor. We tick off all our sponsor objectives though, so that is great. Alonso and myself both damaging a car, and there is our money, 3,450,000. So there we go, back at HQ. So activity timeline then, what are we going to do? Well, I kind of forgot to do this last time. We're going to do the podium celebration. We can't forget it this time. So yeah, that will boost the morale of every department, and only cost us a little bit of money, so it's not a big deal. And we're also going to do the second driver performance review for Fernando Alonso to hopefully help his focus, because that is going to get smashed after that DNF. You know, having a result like that slip away is not going to be good for a driver. So yeah, we're going to try and help him out with that. It'll boost his focus up a little bit once again, but yeah, it's just been a really tough time for Fernando Alonso. I genuinely feel bad. It's yeah.
Our new parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the car, ready for the next race weekend.
Anyway, what now? Yeah, we do have upgrade going on to the car. It was the gearbox reliability upgrade, so nothing too much there, but Alonso's focus now down to 20. Oh goodness, we're back to where we started. We're not getting anywhere. Anyway, we'll work through it and hopefully build that back up again, but for now, that is all for this one. So I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful. Other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye.